Hello. When I first got the allotment, there were mushrooms growing around the fireplace, so I thought it must be ideal for growing cultivated mushrooms. I decided to try and grow some, using well-rotted manure as a medium for the mushrooms.
Right, I've decided to use this bath for growing mushrooms in because it's the only one where the actual drain hole is plumbed in, and there's the other end of it. So if I do end up putting water in it, I don't want all the stuff coming out, because obviously it's growing in manure, so I don't want that all over the floor of the shed. So this, if I raise it, then it means that water, once it flows, it cannot go down and out unless it reaches the level of this. So if I do need to add a little bit of water to keep the manure moist, then I'm not going to end up with liquid manure all over the floor of the shed. It's a bit of an unusual shape because it's got that little wide bit at the bottom, but otherwise it's fine. A bit of crud around the edges, you know, all the sealant, so I'll have to take that off, but I can do that another day. Of course, I'll put it over here, and now I've got to get into the shed over there through that really narrow gap. Now this shed door is only 60 centimeters wide, or 2 feet, so it's going to be a bit of a tight squeeze getting the bath through there, but we'll give it a go. I've measured it and it should fit. Well, these shelves that I built last year from these two bits of shelving and some pallets, it's done a good job, and it's been a good little storage space. But now, as well as this one, I've got a tall shelving unit, and somebody left another chest of drawers that they didn't want. So between these three, and there's going to be a bath in here, so it's done its job. It was useful shelving for a year, but I've got to take it down. I'll reuse these for something else. Just in case anybody was wondering, they're just pallets. I've not actually screwed anything in. Took apart some pallets, and these shelves, the same lady that was throwing this out threw out one of these, which she didn't want, so I took that. Then I found its cousin in a skip, so that was fortuitous, and it's done a good job for the last year, but it's got to go somewhere else now. I've just measured these pallet pieces, and they're just the right size for making the beds. So those will be going into the beds, and these two shelves I'll think about what I'm going to do with them. Because the floor of the shed is damp, and particularly that back wall and the corners, just to protect the bottom of the shelves, I'm sacrificing this pallet and shoving that right to the back. And then I'll put the chest of drawers and the shelves on top of this, and that way it's not getting damp straight into the shelves. Right, I've reorganised things in the shed so that now the bath can go here. And all this bits of wood, once I've finished building the polytunnels and the greenhouse, whatever's used will be used and the rest will be given away. But for now, there's a lot of it in here staying in the dry. Right, so now to get the bath in here. Right, got this in, but of course, being an idiot, I'll pull it in the wrong way round, so I'll have to turn it round. That was a mistake. Okay, I've turned it round the right way round. I didn't want to knock the camera over or anything, so I didn't film that bit. Now I've got to level it, because obviously this bit underneath where the plug hole is raised, so that piece of pipe is raising the level at that end, so this end needs to be sorted, and I'll then nudge it into place. But just in case anybody asks, it was cleaned properly before, so it looks dirty, but that's just a bit of soil and stuff, and it's going to have manure in it, so really it doesn't matter. It has been cleaned and disinfected before, but a bit of soil isn't going to hurt anything. So I'm just going to put it in the corner and level it. Now it won't go in the right into the corner because this part of the bath is warped, so it doesn't go, the edge doesn't go straight. It's got a, don't know how they managed it, but it's warped and pushing out, so I'll leave it. But this is the edges alright, and it's just a little bit off but that's fine. It's not flush with the wall, but that doesn't matter. Now to find something to make the bath level. I think a couple of bricks should do it. Okay, well that's level, and that's level, and it's taken up quite a bit of the shed, but if I can get a good supply of mushrooms it'll be worth it, because this shed is just for storage anyway. I'm not the sort of person that comes and sits in the shed and has a cup of tea. Right, I put some more bricks in the middle and it's still bang level and spot on level, so that's done. All we need now is to fill it with manure, mushrooms and wait. It's not too bad as you walk into the shed. It's an unusual thing to find in a shed, but yeah, it's just wouldn't go the other way because of the chimney. It just wasn't long enough, that wall, so it has to go in this way around. But once this wood's gone and that wood's gone, it'll be fine. Got enough room for storage, and I'm not the sort of person that sits around all day drinking tea in their shed, so I don't really need it unless it's really bad weather. So yeah, pleased with that. When I get a bit of time I'll sort these shelves out as well. This never had any handles on it, and I got it from somebody who was throwing it away. Don't know why they took the handles off it, but don't have any handles, so I'll have to find some handles, and then this will be fine. And I can sort of wiggle it a bit and pull it and it comes out, but it'd be nice to have handles. This one's alright. This just needs a bit of nailing the back on properly, but that can wait. Before I put the manure in, I don't want it to go down the plug hole. I've got a doubled over sheet of, it's just normal weed fabric. There's a piece that was no use anymore, so I'm going to double that over, put a stone on top of it, and that will stop the manure going down the plug hole and gumming up the drains. And the manure I'm using is this well rotted manure. Right, one load of poo done, a load more to go. This bath has got the manure in it now. I'll come down and just really make it smooth another day, but it's taken a bit of time. This stuff is heavy and it sticks to everything. So if you're trying not to get yourself dirty, it takes a bit of effort. Yeah, I'll let it sit here for a couple of days, and then I'll come in and smooth it out a bit more, and then a couple of days we should be over the frosts, and then I can get the actual mycelium in there and then get the thing going. So part one complete. Right, I'm using these mushrooms spawn, and I'm just going by what's on the instructions at the back. I've got the manure sorted and sort of dug through and levelled off a bit, so that stage is ready. So now all I've got to do is put the spawn in and spread it around, and that's what it looks like. So I hope it's not gone off. It's certainly not out of date, but it just doesn't look all that good, but we'll see how it goes. So all I'm going to do is just basically sprinkle it around. Some of it's stuck to the thing, so I'll get those out and put them in. That stage is done. We'll now cover it with damp newspaper. It doesn't say how many layers of newspaper, so I'm going to do a couple of layers of newspaper. Oh, first I've got to actually dig it in a bit, so it's not all at the top. Just dig it in a bit. Okay, so we just cover that with the damp newspaper now. I've covered the manure or mushroom spawn with a couple of layers of damp newspaper. That will help keep the moisture in. Right, and just to make doubly sure that the moisture is kept in, I've found a piece of plastic that's I've just folded it over, and it's just about the right size to cover the bath, so that will help keep the moisture in a bit more. Now I need something to weigh this down. This door was part of the old polytunnel that I took down, and it was sort of weighing the plastic down on one side, which is why it's got this long piece and bits of plastic attached to it. So I've got to take this off, and then it's the right size for the bath. The other side is quite well put together, so that's solid. So if I take these bits off, then that will be nice and flat. Okay, we're going to leave the hinge. Well, that took a while because it had nails in every little while. I mean, you know, every few centimetres, very big nail. So it took a while to get those out, but that's out. So I'll remove this bolt. So I might leave the two hinges as they are. Okay, so that's done, and I managed to save the screws and the bolt, so I'll keep that. Might be useful for something else. Okay, so that door will hold this in place, and then when I want to check the mushrooms, what I'm going to do is lift that, and then deal with the mushrooms. Right, that's done. You can just lift it. It's quite a light door. It looks like a heavy wooden door, but it isn't. It's fairly light. Somebody dropped off some bits of carpet that were just rolled, obviously offcuts. And I took some because I knew I'd need them for this job and another job, which I will explain later. But these make actually very good insulation for things like mushrooms bins, wormery bins. So that's what I'm using them for. But they do make good insulation because it's quite nice thick carpet, so you know, it's as thick as my thumb. Although daytime temperatures are quite good, we still get the odd frost, so I need to insulate this a little bit for a few weeks until temperatures get up to the level where I don't have to worry about it. So I'm using some of this carpet. It's new, and somebody put it in the car park, so I use that as insulation. Almost made to measure. Okay, so that's the carpet. I'll take it off during the day and put it back when I leave. I could put it under the door, so it's between the door and the plastic, but I think it'll be alright where it is. Now I've got more, so I can put something around the sides as well. Well, this piece should just about do it. It's just about the perfect size because I can tuck it in, and it will. I can just tuck it into there, and it just stays in place. Okay, well I'll put that carpet in. It goes in that way. It goes round the end and all the way along. I've shoved it in and it covers that side of the bath as well. So it's on 3 sides. Doesn't matter about that back side because that's the side that's against a brick, so that the sun will warm that up anyway, so that side will be a little bit warmer and the air that's trapped back there will stay warm because it'll be trapped between the brick and the bath. So that's that. So that's the bath, nicely insulated and covered, and everything is in place. All I can do now is hope that the mushrooms work out. It's time to check on the mushrooms, see if we've got any mycelia developing. Doesn't seem to be much happening. Seems to be a little bit. If you look very closely you can see where I put that. So yes, it's happening, but I guess I was expecting it to be white all over and it isn't. So okay, but something is happening, maybe it's slower. The next stage is to cover it with about 3 centimeters of good clean sifted garden soil. I've sifted it once, I'm going to sift it again. So I sifted it and left it last year, so it'll be a bit clumped together, and so I'll sift it again. And now all I'm going to do is roll it off, make sure that get all the corners. Now we need to keep this soil slightly damp, so I'm not going to give it a massive watering, just a little bit, because it is actually, can't find the rose for this, but just a little bit, because we don't want it wet but we want it moist. Now what we're going to do is put the plastic on, make sure that the soil stays moist, and wait for the mushrooms to come up. They say 10-12 weeks, but we'll see. The door, keep the plastic down. And we're still likely to get some frost, so I'm putting the carpet back on as well, just to give it a bit of insulation in case we get any frost. Should be alright in the shed now, but just to give it a bit of extra protection. And there we go.